Hello and welcome to the third episode of Panzer's Last Stand, Operation Konrad 2, first turn, 7th January 1945. Just a correction to put in, actually from the first activation, this was 5th SS one, I did a 3-point barrage on the 16th Mech Brigade here, but I didn't then attack it, so there's a restriction, missed it, that you can only fire 1-point destructive barrages if you're not going to attack. So what I'm going to actually do is I am going to just wind that back and actually do the attack to support. So in which case we're going to get the Aufklärungs here, 5th SS Aufklärungs recon unit, to do an assault supported by the 2nd of the 9th here. They weren't involved in anything on the first turn. In which case let's tot up the VALT statistics of this attack. On the attack we have an action rating of 5. We have a dual unit, so it is qualifies for support, self-support, so that's a 6. It was only in a standard objective zone. There is no mission counting because we did the destruction barrage, and we do have an assist though. So that's 5, 6, 7 on attack. Defender here is a 5 action rating here, not in prepared defense, but is in terrain. Of course, this is rolling. 5 goes to a 6. It is a dual, yes, so a dual infantry or real standoff in a terrain hex is +1. So yeah, so 5, 6, 6 versus 5, 6, 7. So it's only a +1 attack. And the result is a 5 + 1 is a 6. Not great. It is an A1. So there is a loss here of 1 strength point. You will also notice that I've replaced the old wing leader displays here with, I've had a suggestion that was on Board Game Geek. Somebody in the channel, in the chat, mentioned that it was now on Board Game Geek. I think I searched for it a while ago when I was reconnoitering for the game and couldn't see it, but it's definitely there. So I've printed it out, and here they go. So each of these represent the stacks on the HQs, and I think they look pretty good. That's the initial correction, so we'll get back on to the next activation. So the activation will be the 18th Tank Corps, of course. It's the only Tier 1 formation left on the display here. The first thing we do is, do we want to set a prepared defense? It's an interesting idea. We possibly do. The only restriction though that causes is the half movement, which may be a problem if we want to reposition to cover this area, but I think it's probably worth it. So we will enter into a prepared defense. So we put the prepared defense marker onto the chart there, and once we've done that, we're okay with the MSR, which runs down this road, HQ and combat trains there. There's no mixing at the moment. 23rd is here, and of course 62nd Guard down here, so it's quite homogeneous there. So let's look at the snafu table modifiers for the 18th Tank Corps. So with our fatigue, we're not fresh. We are on a fatigue level of 1, no coordination. We are optimal distance and not mixed. And as they are a primary activation here, there's a +0 from the activation display. Trains are not ghosted and not crossing the streams, nothing in between there. And the main supply route is open. Total distance gives us a +1, fatigue gives us a -1, so it's a straight roll. Oh, a 3. Well, a 3 gives us a partial activation. Lucky there wasn't a -1, otherwise there would be no activation. So with our partial activation we have only one objective, and everything is half movement. So the main problem that 18th Tank Corps has is here. These units here are in a little bit of a problem here. They cannot move out the moment because they'd be moving from AVZOC to AVZOC, so they can't do that. So they need to be effectively broken out. Now the way we can do that is either to try and push this unit back here, or maybe these two units back here to give us some room. But neither is that easy to do. With here we've got a Tiger company, just one step with the infantry below on the 3rd SS. Here we've got infantry with red support, and then we've also got the Panzers here, the Panthers I think, with again the red supported infantry. And in fact what I'm going to do, I think, is maybe switching back one of the corrections I did. So it's perfectly legitimate for the Panzer unit to advance during the 5th SS. However, they're kind of vulnerable. There's only one step each, and that's all that we've got, pretty much, except for the reconnaissance unit as far as sort of AV units. So I'm actually going to leave that guy back there because I don't want him really involved in any defensive combat. I want to leave it up to the Jagdpanzers in the support. Could do a similar thing here with these Panzers. Well, I'm kind of vacillating between whether they should be there or not. I think we should leave it up to the infantry to maintain what we've got there. Back to our original issue, which is either here or here, to create some space, because I'm not sure we really want them to stay there on this road. And of course they can't help on this side. If we were going to go for this side, they can't help, whereas they can here. So I think what we might do initially is we want to wait for these guys so that before they move, so that they could get out if they could. We need to do something either about here or here. I'm inclined to do something about here, really, because fairly bottled up here. I can throw some artillery at this. The artillery points we have for 18th Tank Corps is 2, 4, 6. So that's a chunk of artillery that we can use here, and I'd like to maybe throw the artillery at here in destruction barrages to see what comes up. However, what can we do over here to free up this? We do have some spare tank destroyer units, so the SUs, limited support, but they are quite powerful. We could look to, for example, this is a very powerful unit, a 4 and a 4, and we could bring this around. We've got 8 movement points that we could use to come around and maybe provide that support. So let's see if we can do that, I think. So we're on half, 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to do an engagement here. So that's with 4 for the AV rating and 4 for the action rating, so that's an 8. We look at the modifiers on the engagement table. There are limited AV. Oh, we need to place our objective, and our objective will be here. I think that's another problem, is covering both of these is going to be different. So I think we're going to concentrate here, I think, on doing what we need to do. It's a shame that. So yeah, as we were, 8 minus 1 for limited AV is a 7, and this is up against a 4 rated infantry unit with red support of 4, so that's an 8 itself. So that's a 7 to 8, which is a -1. Let's see how we go with that. A 6 becomes a 5, which is a no result. So that didn't work. I think what we'll end up having to do is do that again for its second fire, again on a -1. A 4. That becomes a 3. That's fire loss and traffic. So really the Russians have messed this up completely. We have a traffic marker to put here, and it's lost one of its 2 steps. So a really terrible engagement there. And the traffic means that we can't then get through onto this other unit. So it looks like these guys are going to be stuck. That's not great. To rescue all this, we'll just have to pretty much cover this area, I think, is what we have to do. We have a motorcycle unit here, and that's got 18, so it's 8 movement points out of the 16. So I think we will move that up to here. Or possibly 1 step back, maybe. We will pop this unit onto here. And well, there's not a lot else we can do. We can try and front up against some of these, say the Tiger unit, and try and get it eliminated. We don't have the objective here, so we can only do engagements. We don't have a lot of spare capacity to do it. That's only 3 steps in that whole hex. 4 here. We could do a one there, but that's a -2 engagement, I think. Is it worth it? -2 engagement. To actually get the loss, we would need to roll an 11, so not really. What I will do though is I think we will put this unit here. This allows us to do at least some barrages here. Only 1 point, because we can't do the barrages up here because we don't have the objective marker. So let's do 1 point barrage here, and this is unit in the open. It's not in prepared defense, and so with an artillery strike that's a 3 to 6. So 1 dice on a 3 to 6. A 1 is a miss. We'll do the same thing for this unit here. So spotting here, 1 dice, 3 to 6. A 2. This is a terrible turn for 18th Tank Corps. It's done really badly. Missed completely. Not a lot else it can really do. So yeah, all the rolls have been terrible, and we just have to clean up now. We haven't done any actual assaults, so on our fatigue table we have done an engagement, so it's a 1 or a 2. So, well, seeing as the rolls we've already had, let's see what comes up here. A 1 or a 2, a 3, so that's alright. And do we want another activation? We didn't turn this guy over, did we? So a 4, 5 or 6. I think we should have one, because I think we need to do something with this formation. So we're going to roll again 4, 5 or 6 for the second activation. And a 6. Suddenly the formation wakes up and we get a second activation here. Rolling for the snafu roll. I believe we're still on the 0 modifiers. We have the optimal distance and the fatigue cancelling each other out, and pretty much everything else is exactly the same. So 2 dice with no modifier on the snafu table. Oh, good grief. With a 4, it's another partial. Another partial gives us a single objective again. So the same problem really. We really needed 2 objectives to be able to do a decent amount of damage here. So where do we put the hurt? I'm inclined to put the objective here, so we can launch some barrages here, because we've got a couple of spaces with doubled up units. That means we can't really do anything here other than engagement. I don't think there's any point in doing any engagements here. If we drop here, we could attack, but we don't want to lose the last step here either. If we can possibly prevent it. There's a possibility actually that we need to withdraw this unit and replace it with something a little bit meatier. Possibly this one. Yeah, so that's got 2 steps. So we will move this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here, and this chap will withdraw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I think that's a bit safer. We won't do a stopping engagement here. We're happy to stop and just sit there. We will do some barrages here, some destruction barrages. So first up we'll do this unit here. So this is in terrain, no prepared defense, and we'll use 1 point for it, and that'll give us a 4 to 6. So let's roll that. 1 dice, a 5. So that's a step loss. Over here, 2 units to roll for. The Tiger is a hard unit, so therefore that's automatically a 6. The other unit is in terrain, so it's a 4, 5 or 6. So we'll roll 2 dice, and the red one will be the Tiger unit. Miss completely. Let's put the Tiger back. Here likewise, red dice being the hard unit. A 3 and a 1 is no good either. So that's 4, we're down to 3 points now. And finally the Pioneer unit, which is on a 4 to 6 for being in terrain. No, another 1. Having done these destructive barrages, I don't think there's any point in fighting the 3rd SS here. So it's a clean up again. So I must say that I don't think any of the activations that we've had so far have been brilliant. Mostly very uneventful. 5th SS really only got a kind of hex advance really from where they started. 7/11 went nowhere, and 18th Tank Corps has gone nowhere. Now we just do our clear up. There's nothing particularly to clear up, and the fatigue roll. So that's 1 dice, and on a 1 or a 2, as it's a second activation, and also the fact that they did barrages. A 4, so at least that didn't occur. Well, at least we got to reposition anyway, but that's the 18th Tank Corps done. Join me on the next video for the first of the secondary activations. Bye for now.